All right, welcome back to the RetroCult podcast. I'm your host Chuck. That is your host Mac. Mac, what's going on, man?
Not a lot, not a lot. Just taking it easy after a long weekend of yard work, and just getting ready for the Recollect show next week.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that show, man. I've been trying to tell as many people as I can. I took some footage at Recollect on Friday. I need to knock together and put a video out there. Probably just do a quick Instagram video
Hmm.
and talk through that, and just to let people kind of see what the shop is like and the kind of stuff they have. But yeah, the show's going to be great, man. I've spent the last little bit getting stuff ready. I know you've been getting some things ready
Yeah,
and putting them into
yeah,
bins, so
yeah.
I'm
I've
excited.
spent I've spent a lot of this week up in the man cave going through comics and toys. I have a pretty good start on the toys that I want to take to the show. I don't think I'm going to have that many comics this time out. Just I was planning on taking some comics, but as I sent you some messages earlier in the week. I did spend a good amount of my time organizing my collection to organize my collection, just
Yep.
because, it's been such a mess over the years. As we moved into the house, I got that room set up and just haven't really gotten up there and put my nose to the grindstone and gotten it all organized. So I finally took some time this week, and I have everything separated out. I have a bit of my collection that is actually sorted and bagged and boarded, and then I just have a huge section of my collection that's bagged and boarded but that needs to be sorted in. And I finally have everything separated out that actually needs bagging and boarding and then being sorted in. And so I think the final tally was I have 11 boxes, short boxes of comics that need bagging and boarding. And then I have about 52 short boxes of comics that are bagged and boarded but need to be sorted into the collection. So I've got a whole project going on here. And because of that, I just really, even as I was going through comics, sorting boxes and everything, I really didn't have a chance to pull things out to think about, oh, I want to sell this, I want to keep this, or anything like that. So I think this show is probably, and it probably makes more sense because Recollect is really primarily a retro toy store. And I think this
Yeah,
is really, I think they're even calling it a toy show.
it is.
So I probably won't have that many comics, if any comics, with me this
Okay.
time. It'll probably be mostly toys.
Yeah, I mean, I have comics and some magazines and things of that nature that I've thought about selling. I don't know. I mean, I've got to think about what all I'm taking. I'm definitely taking some of the records. I know it's a toy show,
Hmm.
but every toy
Oh,
show I've
well,
ever
yeah.
done, I
And
take those records, but
yeah.
they're toy adjacent. You
No,
know,
I agree. That's why I would love to take some comics. I just don't think I'm organizationally prepared to do that yet.
yeah. I'm not 100% sure if I'll get to that point or not. I guess it depends on when I start looking at what all I'm putting in the boxes, if I think I'm going to need some extra space or not. But I think the space on those tables is going to run out faster than I'm used to. Because I mean, even at the small toy shows that I go to with the North Carolina Underground, the space just seems to run out really, really fast.
Yeah,
So
I could see that. That's why we were talking a little bit before the show about like things we were going to take and everything. And so I guess just to give people a preview if they're interested in going to the show as to what we're taking. Um, I know that we're both going to be taking some loose action figures. I have
yep,
some of those Sterilite plastic. They're kind of the drawer bins, so they
yep.
have the pull drawers. I have like three of those just full of like loose action figures from across the whole gamut: Star Wars, Star Trek, superheroes, DC and Marvel. So I think I'm going to be taking those and the way those things are designed. I think they'll fit under the table nicely,
I
so that
think so. Yeah.
people can kind of just pull the drawers. And I think Laura and I were talking, figuring out pricing and stuff. So we're definitely gonna. I think there are going to be some good deals there with the loose figures. I definitely going to have quite a few McFarlane still in the package figures, particularly the DC line. Um, Probably will have some Hasbro Marvel stuff too. I don't know how much of that yet. I do know just going through my collection through the week, I did find quite a few duplicate things that I'm like, oh well, I didn't even know I'd bought two of these. So
Yeah, I mean that's I see that a lot when we buy things. We'll pick stuff up, and one of the two of us like, oh, this is great. I got to have this, and then we get home and get to looking, and sure
hmm.
enough,
Oh yeah, I meant to tell you as I was going through comics this week. Um, I think I had told you that I had 3 copies of Space 1999.
yeah.
Well, the tally has gone up to 5. I have 5 copies of
Is
Space
that number one?
1999, number 1.
Wow, that's crazy,
Actually,
man.
when it's all said and done, I'll be interested once I get everything sorted and inventoried. I would not doubt I might end up having 2, at least 2 complete runs of Space 1999.
Wow, that's wow. I mean, is that something that you're gonna hold on to, or is that something you might
I'll
actually put together
definitely
a run
hold
and
on
sell
to
it?
1 complete set,
Yeah,
but I would probably eventually put those out for sale, like,
I would imagine
um
there's somebody out there. There's another
oh,
Mac out there
I
somewhere
think that,
that's
I will put it this way, considering that one of our more most popular podcast episode was the Space 1999 episode.
yeah,
There's definitely a Space 1999 community out there. You just got to
yeah,
find them. And so, but yeah, I would definitely, like I said, I am pretty sure this is just off the top of my head based on what I saw this week. I'm probably going to have at least 2 complete sets. I might even be close to 3 complete sets. I mean, like I said,
wow.
I think there are only 8 to 10 issues. So it's not that many. It's not like we're talking like, but I have apparently bought a lot of Space 1999 and then forgot about it. And then
Yeah,
I'd
it's
go
hard to
buy it
say no to
again.
that, man. I
Yeah.
came across a Space 1999 model, an unopened model, the other day, but I know you're not a huge model person.
No, I do love them. I like the guys at Collectors Confluence gave me that Hawk
They
model
did,
kit.
yeah,
And I'll be honest, I love it. I will never build it. I probably will never
yeah,
build it, but it's sitting on my what I affectionately call the dockyard because I have a display in my house of different spaceships and starships from different franchises, and it's sitting there in a place of honor. So I love it. The box art's beautiful. That was a
yeah.
beauty. That was the other thing. A lot of those model kits, the box art is beautiful.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I know that. I don't know if I still have that Dracula or not. If I do, it'll be at the show. But the box on it, the box art is phenomenal. I mean,
Well,
it's just
you
amazing.
gave me that creature
I did.
model kit too, and that's really nice. A few years ago, Tamiya, the Japanese model maker, I used to love Tamiya kits when I was a kid, and I did build model kits. I was into mostly science fiction and military model kits. Like I never was into building cars or anything like that. Um, but Tamiya had the best quality like military model kits, and they still do from what I understand, because it's ironic that I don't build models myself, but I subscribe to about 20 modeling channels on YouTube because I'm just fascinated watching people build them and paint them. Um, so Tamiya, they always had beautiful box art, like just highly detailed, beautiful paintings. Well, a few years ago, they actually released a book of the box art from their model kits through the
Oh
years.
wow,
And I'm
that's
like, I
cool.
bought a copy of that. It's a beautiful like coffee table book, and I'm like, I wish more companies would do that. Like I would
Yeah,
love to see, like when we were growing up, Matchbox did model kits back in the day. Uh, I know that theirs had like beautiful painted box art. Uh, I'm trying to think of who. I keep thinking Airfix. That's the British company. I'd love one from them too. Uh, I forget. AM is it AMT? I think AMT was one of the big American model companies. And again, all of them had beautiful box art because it had to attract you, from the
oh
shelf. That
yeah,
oh yeah, and so uh, I would love to see more companies do that kind of thing. Do like coffee table books with box art. Um, I know that probably it's been 10 years ago now. A company did that with the Atari. I think Atari funded it, but they did a hardcover coffee table book of Atari video game
Yeah.
box art. And again, now that Atari owns Intellivision, please, if anybody from Atari happens to be listening to this podcast somewhere, because I'm sure they do, I'm sure they're listening, but
Yeah.
please do the exact same thing for the Intellivision box art. Because I would
Oh,
love, I could do a whole, we could do a whole episode just talking about our favorite video game box art.
yeah. I mean, I hate to do this in the middle of a video, but you just mentioned something super cool. Take a look at the text I just sent you. I
Okay.
found a TV game cart for the Atari or Intellivision over the weekend. It's still in the box. I would honestly,
Okay.
if I bought
Where
that,
was this? Where
that
was
was
this?
it. That was at Cook's. There's one guy in there that has a pretty fantastic
What
booth.
was he asking for it?
Honestly, he was so busy, didn't get a chance to talk to him, but I know he was usually either at or well above most of the stuff you would find online. And he's
Okay.
terrible about I have to look it up really quick. So
Oh, that
yeah, I know.
sucks
Like
because just
nothing in the
looking
booth
at
is
that, I'm
nice.
like, I would buy that. I would buy that.
Yeah, I need
Well,
that.
because we have the, when they released it, we bought the first generation Atari 2600 Plus.
Yeah,
And so this would look great
it
in
would look
the
great.
comic book room. Just set that up, put,
And
because we
then
do
I'm
have
buying games.
a pretty nice collection of games.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't pay a lot for it, but that'd be interesting to find. I'm glad.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I don't you don't see him a lot, but
no, you
it's
don't.
definitely good. Speaking of games, I mean I have some games. I've got some N64 games, some Nintendo, regular Nintendo, some
That
Super
you're going to be
Nintendo
taken
games.
to the show.
Yeah, I've got some
Yeah,
Sega games that I'm taking. Some of them are it seems from looking, and looking them up over the weekend that are on the more collectible side. Most of the ones that I have complete in the box are either going to be Sega or Nintendo 64. I don't know what happened to all my Nintendo boxes. I think my mom had trashed all those because she didn't like them getting in the way. But I was really bad about keeping everything and putting it back in the plastic case and in the box, and then getting that back out. And I don't think that she liked that very much. So
I
she may have
was
got rid
that
of all
way
that.
with my Intellivision games. They were just cardboard boxes, but I kept
Yeah.
every game, and I really loved. I had like a little entertainment center kind of thing in my room with my TV, and I loved looking up there and seeing the Intellivision games. And the funny thing with Mattel, at least in the early years, they kind of color coded the boxes so that like sports games were blue,
Yeah.
war games were red. So you could kind of even just look and tell what category of game it was. Um, but of course, I sold all my Intellivision stuff years ago, and of course, kicked myself daily for it. I'm like, you should have held on to all of that.
I mean I do, and then I do also look at the fact that some of that stuff has been sitting down there for 20 almost 21 years now, that I haven't gotten it back out. Although I did have some of the stuff. I remember playing like NBA Jam and some games like that with Luke when he was little. But like there's a lot of games in there that I just haven't even
No,
gotten out in the
yeah.
longest. So it's like it's I'm the worst about trying to hold on to stuff and hoard it and keep it, and but there's other things that I'd rather have right now. So if I could get like other, get my monster collection up some more, or get my Fisher Price, action figures up more, I'd rather have that right now
Yeah,
than games.
I will be honest. The Intellivision, an original Intellivision, is one of the things I'm looking to get
Oh, okay.
one day for my collection, and to build like a collection of the original games.
Yeah.
I do actually have Laura for Christmas one year when we were dating gave me the Intellivision flashback, and I love it because now it's just a small miniature unit, but the controllers are the actual size of the original. So I actually bought reproduction overlays to go on the number pads, so that I can use that. I would love to eventually build a game collection that actually has all of the like the original box, the original game, and overlay. So yeah, the Intellivision is kind of on my wish list of game consoles to get
Okay.
eventually get the original. Um, we I mentioned earlier that Atari owns Intellivision now, and I was really hoping they would release an Intellivision Plus like the Atari 2600 Plus, where you could play the original cartridges. Unfortunately, and they did, they have released one, and it's the original size of the original console. The everything fits, it looks exactly like an original one, but for whatever reason, it doesn't have a cartridge port, so you can't play original cartridges. And that was the neat thing with the Atari 2600 Plus, is that you if you had old cartridges, you can put them in there and just play them just like the
Yeah, I think
original.
that's the only thing that I don't like about that Nintendo that I bought is it's number one, it's tiny, it's
What'd you
miniature,
buy?
and
One of the mini? I have the mini. Yeah.
yeah, I have the
Yeah.
mini, and it's awesome, but you're never going to be able to play any other game. So like
Yep.
Karnov is not going to be. I mean, that's like such a rare, random game anyway that nobody's going to play it but me anyway.
Yep.
But it's not there, and so you can't slap that in. And
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't. Yeah, since they did it with the Atari 2600, I don't know why they didn't do it with the Intellivision Plus. Is why can't I actual put a cartridge in? Now, their answer to that is that there's a website, I think, where you can go download the actual game programs onto like a memory stick and put it in there and play them that way, but it's not the same. And what if I do actually have some old Intellivision cartridges. I'd love to just pop that in and play.
yeah,
So that's why I'm not buying one of those. And that's when I kind of decided, I'm just gonna try to buy an actual original Intellivision.
well, I mean, maybe they'll have somebody will have one at the
I
show.
well, I've been places that actually had them and just never pulled the trigger on it because,
Yeah,
like I said, for a while there, I was hoping that they would actually release an Intellivision Plus that would kind of reinvigorate the game development community, because that's what happened with the 2600 Plus, is that now that there is a device that will play new cartridges, there's like a homebrew community that's kind of
yeah,
grown up where people are making new games for the Atari 2600. And then some of them just look amazing. You're like, wow, how did you
yeah.
make that on an Atari
Some of the
2600?
Nintendo games that are coming out from
Yeah.
those,
Yeah.
people are pretty fantastic too. So, um, I am kind of kicking myself. I should have just spent the money online, even though it was super expensive for the Spirit Halloween Nintendo game. I should have bought
I
that.
know, I know. I kind of regret. I remember you when you sent that to me. My first thought, I didn't. I don't even have a Nintendo to play it on. I was like,
Yeah,
I kind of want to get that, and
it
I
was expensive,
didn't.
like
It
$65,
was.
wasn't
I
it?
mean, it was like a actual video game
Yeah,
release. Like it was actually that, and that's probably what held me back from buying
that's
it. But
same here. It's fine. It's not a big deal. So, what are I mean? Like I said, I mean, I mean, obviously, like we're taking some action figures, we're taking video games, we're taking toys. I hope that we sell some stuff, but I mean, as
yeah.
we take breaks and
Oh
move our
yeah,
way
we're going to be
around,
looking around too.
or we
Yeah.
hit the next toy show that's coming to Winston, whenever that is, like what are some of the things that are on your radar right now? What is something you'd be super happy if you came across it at a table?
That that's a hard question for me to answer right now, just because at the for the last couple of weeks I've been in sell mode. Like I need
Yeah.
to. So I have things on my list. I try to keep a list of want list of things. But I don't know how active am in looking for them. Like I've kind of gotten, since you gave me the talking ViewMaster, I there are definitely some ViewMaster reels I'm looking for,
Okay.
that I either had as a kid or never knew existed as a kid and would have definitely wanted. Like the two that come to mind are, well, this one's for Laura. Is there was a Dark Shadows ViewMaster reel, and so I would love to
Talking or
find.
just regular?
No, they're just right. These are just
Okay. Okay.
regular. These are
All
not
right.
talking. The talking ViewMasters, um, I would definitely love to find the I'm trying to remember which ones were in the box you gave me because did it have the Marvel superheroes one? I don't think it did.
I
I
don't
don't
think the one that I gave you
see the
did.
one I definitely would want as far as talking Viewmaster are is the Marvel superheroes one, which are the old 60s cartoons.
Yeah,
And they just had the honestly, it probably isn't, but to my recollection as a kid, I think it's literally the narrator and soundtrack to the cartoons.
it
But
is.
there's a Captain America one, a Mighty Thor,
Yep,
an Iron Man, and a Spider Man,
yep.
and I want all four of those. Those are the talking ones. Now, when I was a kid, I never had the Superman or Batman, and the Batman. I think there were multiples. I believe there was a talking Viewmaster that was the Batman '66 TV show. I had the non-talking version of that, but
Okay.
I believe there is a talking Viewmaster version of that with Adam West and Burt Ward. It's
Ooh, now
literally lifted from
that's
the
pretty
show.
awesome.
But I would also like to get the New Adventures of Batman, which was the cartoon. There was a talking Viewmaster, at least one reel from the New Adventures of Batman, and I remember that one uh, because back in the old days, with especially with those what was that? I forget the name of the company that did the animation. Their animation was kind of shoddy. I mean, when we were kids, it was amazing, but looking back at it as an adult, I always, whenever I watch those old cartoons, I just notice like how screwed up the animation is sometimes. Like Batman's symbol will routinely disappear off of his chest in different frames. And I just remember in the Adventures of Batman reel, literally there's a like I guess they just couldn't pick a better frame for the Viewmaster reel, but like Batman is missing the symbol on his chest. He's missing his utility belt and his gloves are like a totally different color than his cape and cowl. For like the animator just they I don't know, they fell asleep or had a stroke or something during that frame
Yeah,
and nothing turned out right, but yet the VAF people when they were putting the Viewmaster reel, they were just like, "Yeah, throw that one in." I just
yeah. I
remember
mean,
always looking at that one, just going, how screwed up Batman's costume was.
yeah. I mean, I'm always, you know me. I love a good ViewMaster. I love ViewMaster reels, and I'm never going to turn those down. That metal Superman that I sent you the other day would be awesome to find.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Obviously,
Oh, the other before we move away from the Viewmaster, the other Viewmaster reel I'm actively looking for is the Dungeons and Dragons. It's
yeah,
not the cartoon. It's not
yeah,
from
yeah.
the cartoon. This was literally a legit TSR Dungeons and Dragons Viewmaster reel, and I would love to add that to the
That's gonna be
collection.
tough to find. I'm gonna have to find that in like a bin of ViewMaster reels that somebody doesn't know what they have, and I just end up getting a bunch of stuff,
Yeah.
which happens. I mean, I do. That is one thing that I see quite often is bags of ViewMaster reels and ViewMasters at yard sales and flea markets and stuff. You just have to be willing to put the time in to go through them because it's a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
the others yeah, you go ahead and talk about some of the things you're looking for. There is another line of toys I really am kind of on the hunt for different things. Yeah, that metal
okay,
Superman was neat just because I really don't remember that. Like I
I don't
don't
either.
remember
I've
that
never seen
line
it.
of
It's just pretty
toys,
awesome.
but it was cool. So that's one I'd like to know more about. But there are some actual figures that I would like to work on completing a collection, especially considering that the company that made them, Mattel, has the license back again, and I think that they're going to do some pretty quality figures. I don't know whether you saw the news. Pixel Dan has a video that dropped, I believe, last weekend, showing off the new Mattel $10 line of He-Man and Masters of the Universe action
I
figures?
have come across the $10 He-Man and then like the more, premium He-Man from the upcoming movie. And I haven't seen
Have
all
you
of them.
seen them on the store in the
Oh yeah,
store?
I've seen them in the
Oh,
store
I had no
shelves.
idea they were out yet.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is right behind me. I don't have them all,
Oh, yeah. So these are
but
the $10 ones?
nah,
Yeah.
these were actually $5.
5. Okay.
Yeah, $5, and there's Skeletor, Beastman, He-Man, and Man at Arms, and I have He-Man and
Oh, those are
Skeletor.
cool.
Oh yeah, they're like this big. I mean, that's
Yeah.
phenomenal. But I
Yeah,
have
well,
seen the movie action figures. I've seen those too. I'm holding off on those. I don't know what to do about that. I want to collect them all. But then, like, I sent you the other day. I was like, hey man, like the Superman action figures are like $1.50 right now. So I'm are they going to mass produce this so much that I can catch them on sale, or am I going to kick myself for not buying them? I may take the chance and just kick myself. Or once I leave the theater, if I'm like, oh, these
that
two
was
characters are my
amazing.
these
Yeah.
are my two favorite characters, or if the whole
Yeah.
movie's phenomenal, I might do them all. But I don't know. I mean,
Well,
they
when
didn't make any like the old figures. They're all brand new looking, and like I like the old He-Man, so I'm probably
I
not gonna
like
have to
the
get them.
old, but I will say I loved when I watched Pixel Dan's video where he was showing them. I really was impressed with the quality of the figures,
They're not
the
bad.
sculpts, the build. Like they're not super articulated. I think there's
No.
still only 6 or 7 points of articulation. Like I don't even
Yeah.
remember if they were articulated at the knees or not. But and they're keeping the price range around that $10, and
Which
I'm
that's
like,
nice.
That is nice." And see that it's funny. I was watching that video where he's talking about Masters of the Universe, and I was getting excited for the upcoming DC Mattel figures because I'm like, okay, if they're churning this out at this
Yeah.
level of quality for that price, I can't wait to see what they do with the DC ones. Uh, because the other thing I'm actively looking for, and I think I've mentioned this before, is I love the old Mattel DC Universe line. And now they
Yep.
eventually turned it into the multiverse, but particularly the DC Universe line, I really love those figures. They're well designed, well made, and they made everybody. They literally just made every classic version of the figure so that you could build like the classic what I envision when I think of DC superheroes. So I'm hoping we get another bite at the apple with them doing the upcoming DC figures. Um, and now that things have shaken out, so it turns out that it does seem like Mattel. See, a lot of the there was a lot of discussion that when Mattel got the DC license, did that mean McFarlane was losing it? But apparently, it's turned out no. They're both going to be turning out DC figures, but it they're aimed at different markets. Like McFarlane is definitely aiming at the adult collector market, whereas Mattel seems to be really targeting let's make figures for kids, and we need that. We need parents that don't mind spending that don't feel like they're spending $50 for a figure to give to their kid. Nobody's doing that.
Nah,
We need
nobody's
to
gonna buy
make
those.
figures that kids want to play with. If you want to have that next generation of people who love this stuff like we do, well, you got to let them play with it now, or you can't make it so expensive that their parents won't buy it.
And I
And
don't
so
even know that those 30 and $40 toys a lot of the times honestly aren't that much fun to play with.
no, no, they're not.
I mean, they're really meant to
Our
be posed.
our joke, yeah, my favorite line for that is they're not action figures, they're inaction figures
Yeah.
because they're meant to be posed. A lot of them, the articulation barely works anyway. That a lot of them are just essentially statues. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, which that being said, like considering what's on the shelf right behind you, I would be great. I would love for a company to take advantage of something like a Marx used to do back in the day. Just crank out some PVC figures that are in one cool pose that, and sell them for $1, $2. That's like and we had so much fun playing with stuff like that as a kid. They didn't have to be super articulated. Now, I did love the articulated figures when I got them, but you know what? I played with plenty that weren't
I
articulated too.
did,
So,
and
but
I
they have
spent
to be
some.
cheap. That's the thing. They
Yes,
have to be cheap.
I spent some time thinking about this the other day because I had the old original WWF figures, and they were big and bulky and plastic, and they were stuck in one position, and they had no. I mean, there was no articulation. Like they were rubbery and one thing, and they had a giant ring. And
Yeah,
in
I
theory,
see. I see
that's
so
awesome,
many guys online collecting those. Like
and
the
they're
wrestling figures
cool.
are huge.
I think they're cool and they're really neat for me now to stand on a shelf. But looking back at trying to play with those, now I understand why my He Man action figures took over the wrestling ring, and my
Yeah.
Thundercats and the Centurions, they ended up in the wrestling ring way more than the wrestling figures because you were able to lift a foot up to give somebody the big boot or move their arms up so they could hold you and body slam you. Like I used those as my wrestling figures. And then Remco came out with wrestling figures that were molded just like He-Man. And then I went crazy with those. Those were all in the ring. And I had
Yeah,
all sorts of battles.
yeah, yeah, I remember those. I was also just trying to think. You kind of hit on that. That's one of the things I used to love about the superpowers figures is every character had a gimmick. Like he had an
Yeah.
action that he would do. Like Superman, you squeezed his legs together and he would punch.
Yep.
Um, uh, then you might have like the Flash. You did the reverse. You squeezed his arms together and it caused his legs to run.
Yep.
That those I love that they had a play feature that
Yeah.
kids could really buy into, and you don't really see that a lot anymore. I do remember the Playmates figures when they first started doing DC figures in the early 90s, and the Marvel figures. The first round of those, it seems like they had a feature too. Now I think that eventually went away and they just became articulated figures. But I do remember, and this is actually a nice little preview of something I'm working on. Is I just got a set of the Playmates original Batman figures. I got Batman, the Joker,
Oh,
and
wow.
Bob the Goon.
Bob the Goon is great.
Yeah, I got the original Playmates, and I have the uh, NECA 5 points re-release of
Okay.
Batman, Bob the Goon, and the Joker.
All
And
right.
so I don't have the Playmates versions yet. They should be here this week. And I'm gonna shoot a video doing a comparison of the original
Okay.
1989 figures with the 2026 re-release
Man,
figures.
those that Batman crushed it, man. I mean, he really
Oh
did
yeah.
with the toys and everything. And I know that that was all set up with Star Wars, and those types of things. I would love to find, and I know they're not. I mean, I think there's probably maybe one or two of them, but they used the Fisher Price adventure people to mock up what they were going to do when they made the Star Wars action figures. So
Mm.
there's some out there where they painted a guy's hair gray and threw a robe on him to for Obi-Wan.
So they were using as their prototypes or kind of like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
storyboard for
If
the
you look if you
figures.
if you look at it, they're out there. I'm sure those are probably somewhere in a thick, you know, like a cell or something where they're like you could probably couldn't even get into it and it couldn't even hardly see through the plastic and how much they're protected because I mean there's probably just one of those that they took to that to sell.
Yeah.
But those are, I
Yeah.
mean, those are neat. But I mean, I'm me, man. I'm looking, I mean, I have so many things that I love. Obviously, right now, I'm looking for the Fisher Price Adventure people. I'd love to find some of those. I don't think I'm going to at this toy show. I think that might be the Winston Toy Show. I might find some Ghostbusters though.
Yeah.
That I think I can find because I think somebody there's going to have some Ghostbuster stuff, and I think that would be
Yeah.
cool. I want to get a, and it's going to have to be in horrible condition because I'm not spending any money on it. But I want a pretty, I want a firehouse for my classroom. I'm gonna put it up on top of my cabinet where nobody can get to it because I've gotten some. I'm bad like you. I've gotten some duplicates of Ghostbusters recently, and instead of just trashing them, or selling them, I've just been taking them to school, and I'm getting like a pretty big Ghostbusters corner, and even the kids have started noticing. So, um,
No, that's great.
yeah, yeah, I'm trying to find it doesn't if the doors are missing and the stickers are gone and it's crusted over with the slime and they want $20 for it, it's going to go in my classroom.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
if I can get 3D molds or have a kid print some stuff all for me for doors or whatever, and maybe get the sign, I'll be fine. But it's just going to be a display piece.
Yeah, the thing I would love to start a collection on, and I've had a couple of false starts on it, but it's one of those that when I really sit down and start thinking about it, it seems a little daunting. Is I would, part of me would love to build a complete collection of the superpowers and the Secret Wars figures from the
Oh
80s.
man, yeah.
I had quite a few of those back in the
I love the
day.
story of you and your friend going. I think you said Zayres and bought a bunch of
Zayres,
those.
yeah, yeah. Because those came out. I was older. I was on the older
Yeah.
side. I was already a teenager, and I still loved them. And we had literally just been to our junior Civitan end of the year cookout, and like a junior in high school. This would have been between my junior and senior year, and we had just been to the city park in Burlington for this cookout, and it ended. And my best friend at the time, Kenneth, still a great friend. We were both in the junior civ dance together, and so we'd done all that, and it was still it was early. It was like 6 o'clock, and Zayres was right down the road, and I was like, well, we weren't ready to call it, go home or anything. So we were like, let's just ride down Zayres, walk around, and then maybe we'll go to the mall or something later. So we went into Zayres, and of course, I went to the toy department, and they had like a huge display of the Secret Wars figures, and they were all on clearance for $1. They were clearing them out. And I was like, how much money do you have on you? And because I'm not leaving here without one of everything. And
Yeah.
yeah, and so thanks to my bud Ken floating me a little loan, I managed to get one of everything. Now, of course, if I could go back in time, I would have gone and withdrawn my college
All of them.
fund and bought them
Yeah.
all. I would have cleaned the shelf off.
Yeah, I have a similar story. We were at the beach. It was our, annual beach trip. And there it was weird. There was a time when we would go to the beach and stay at the campground with my older brother and my younger brother, and we would ride our bikes around the campground and never really do anything but just swim and ride our bikes around all day. But then there were other times when they would just go and it'd be like my mom and my little brother. Well, he's far younger. So all he wanted to do was go to the pool. So it was kind of like just me there. But we went to Kmart, and I ran back to the toy section as a kid does. And they also had their Secret Wars on sale. And I feel like they were $1. And obviously, like when I would go to the beach, my dad would give me a little bit of money. Hey, if you see
Hmm.
something cool, but he would give me some money to play in the arcades because that was a big thing back then. You go
Yeah,
to the arcades
right.
at the beach at night. And I spent my spending money and my arcade money buying all these figures. And honestly, at that point, I didn't even want to leave the hotel room to go
Yeah.
to the pool. I was like, I'm good. Like you guys can go do whatever. I have Doctor Doom, Doctor Octopus, Spider-Man. I mean, I had so many action figures to play with. And I
Yeah.
I hate that I tore those up, man.
Oh yeah, well, the first thing I did when I got home was I ripped every one of them off the
Yeah.
card, and um, I had a little display that I set up with them. I mean that find of Secret Wars figures led me down a rabbit hole that will make Mego collectors hate me, and I kind of hate myself for this because the Secret Wars, the gimmick was they had those lenticular
Yep.
shields that kind of showed, I think it showed their secret identity and then the hero identity
And
or
they were
something
like
like.
scenes from the comic books. There was like two or three.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and then on the back of the card, because I actually cut the back of the card off because it had a little comic
Yeah.
strip on the back. So those are actually collectible now. People look for those things. But anyway, so each character came with a gun and a shield, which I immediately just threw into a box because Spider-Man doesn't have either, and
Yeah.
I was able to get. I remember getting the regular Spider-Man, and they had the black suit
Yep.
Spider-Man, so I had both of those. Doctor Doom. I might have even kept his shield with him, but the one character the shield really irked me on was Captain America because he has a shield. That's
Yeah.
his main thing. Don't give him this ridiculous square lenticular or maybe the heroes were round and I think the villains were square.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's this lenticular shield and it just looks stupid. So when I was a little kid, my parents one Christmas or something, I'd gotten the Captain Americar from Mego. That fit with the Mego, and the gimmick on that was it had the Captain America shield on the front, and you could push a button on the back and the shield would spring forward like it's protecting the car
Oh
or
yeah.
something. So I immediately went up into my attic, dug that thing out, and I unscrewed the shield off of that. And, just then tossed the car back into the attic. Now knowing that car's, if you had that car in the box, and I think it was still stored in my attic in the box, I think those things sell for like $500-600,
Yeah. We
complete.
we just lost some viewers.
Yeah, yeah.
I
We
could
I got
hear them
some I got some
unsubscribing.
people. Oh, I can't wait to see the comments on this one. So I unscrewed that shield and I took some hot glue and like little cloth strips
Oh
and
my
I
god.
made Captain because it was about the perfect scale
Yeah.
for the figure, depending on what comic book artist. Now, I was a big John Byrne Captain America fan, and he always drew Captain America having this huge hoplite shield, like you remember the movie 300, how big their
Oh yeah.
shields are. He always drew Captain America with this massive shield. So it was about perfect. And so my Secret Wars Captain America, till for the rest of the time I had him, he actually had a legit Captain America shield, and that was awesome. And I kept him, and I finally sold him at Rocket Comics as a loose figure, still with that Mego shield. And it strikes me today that whoever bought that probably bought it to get the shield. They
They
probably
may
didn't care
have.
about the figure because that shield could because there are plenty of Mego Captain Americas out there that have probably because the shield was a pretty cheap plastic. If you
Yeah.
really played with it hard, the paint would scrape off,
Oh
and this
yeah.
thing was like pristine condition. Probably whoever bought that from Rocket Comics, if you're listening, you're welcome. Uh,
Please, they got a comment. They'll be like, "Yeah, I've thought about that every day since I bought it from you."
that they've got this perfect Mego
Yeah.
shield for a Captain America.
That brings
And
me a memory up though of a toy that I've been looking for a long time, and I can't find it, and it's one of my favorite things that my mom ever. It's definitely in the top. My jointed Spider-Man that was on my wall was my favorite thing my mom ever gave me, and I'd love to find that again because they have the jointed Superman too.
are you
Um,
talking about the paper cutouts?
Paper cut. He was huge. He's like 6 foot tall.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she went to, like, a hobby store and got, like, some netting and had, like, this red netting that looked like his web over him. It was so cool.
Oh, that
It's
is
so cool.
awesome.
Yeah, I would
Oh, do
love
you
to
have any
find that.
pictures of that? You need to find.
If I can find some pictures of that on the wall, I will, but, the other thing she got me and, I was just complaining that toys don't move, but it was a Captain America, and he was posed, with his shield in front of him. It was made by Remco, and it was hard plastic, but you could twist the shield and click a little button on his side, and the shield would spin.
I remember that.
But
I
the cool
remember
thing
that.
is the white on the shield glowed in the dark.
Oh, of
And
course. Yeah.
so, I mean, I had that thing by my bed and I would twist the shield, click that, watch the shield spin in the dark while I had Sherlock Holmes or He Man or whatever book on tape that I was listening to go to bed, playing on my Fisher Price tape recorder. And I bet I would love to get that Captain America
Yeah, see,
toy.
that'd be a great find. One thing I'm always looking for. This is I know I've talked to you about this, is I want to find the Spider-Man web shooters from the
Yep.
60s. But I want to find one on the card. Just because, this was a little rack toy. I probably had over my childhood, I probably had a dozen of these things because
Yeah.
they were cheap. They were the rack toys that were at the register.
Yep.
I know I got several from Zayres, speaking of Zayres, but that was always something. They were cheap enough. My parents, like my parents were always really big on, you're not, I didn't get a toy every time we went to a toy
Yeah.
place or anything, but even though you wouldn't get a big expensive toy, you might get one of these rack toys. And you mentioned the Captain America because um, what made me think about the Spider-Man web shooters, which I do want to find, they had the little sticky suction cup. They
Yep.
were good for about one shot, and then you were never winding that string back up
Not
again.
great, but
Not perfect.
I do
Not
remember
that it
that.
would work like perfectly the first time. After that, all bets are off. But they also made, it was just a knockoff of the Spider-Man web shooter, but it was Captain America's shield slinger. And I believe it was reversed. So instead of going on the underside of your arm, it went on the outside. And it had like a little plastic Captain America shield that you would press the button and it would just shoot it out. And of course,
Yeah.
you shoot that out in your yard. The thing's about this big. It's
Yeah.
gone. It's gone
Gone.
forever. And
So what would be I mean, if you're out there and you run across it, I mean, I mean, if the guy's got $500, I mean, you're gonna go, this
right,
sucks.
right,
But I mean,
right. No, no.
what's
I
that
mean,
price?
I would have to say $50 for a carded version of
Yeah.
that would be like my top. And even then, the card had better be pretty nice.
Yeah.
But I would easily pay $20 for a carded one that's in decent shape, that's in okay condition.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I
I
would
mean,
pay
I
that for the
wouldn't
Captain
just
America.
because I want it doesn't mean I'm willing to pay any price for it. I loved it, but I would love to have one. When we were at speaking of the Winston-Salem toy show last year, that's where I found the Spider-Man water gun there
Yeah.
on the card. And that card is perfect. Like it is beautiful. And that guy he was asking like $5 for it. I
That's
paid
crazy. That's a
$5. Yeah.
steal.
That's where I found the PVC Superman figures, the one where he's just
Yeah.
stretching the chain.
Yeah.
That's the same guy I got that from.
Yeah. I it's yeah, that guy had some cool stuff.
Yeah.
He had some Mark stuff that I really liked that was just a little out of my reach. Um,
Yeah, he actually had a Spider-Man, one of the what I know there's a name for it. Those kitty puzzles, we were at
oh my
Free
god, those
Comic Book
things are
Day.
great. Yeah.
We were at Totally Awesome Comics and he had the two Superman ones that
Yeah.
I wish I had bought, but they weren't in. I mean, they had problems. So I even ended up passing. But he actually had a Spider-Man, one of those. It's the thick cardboard for toddlers or whatever.
Yeah.
But I love it because the art is always like it's John Romita Senior
Yep.
Spider-Man. So it's a beautiful art on it. And I think he was asking $5 for that. I really kicked myself for not buying that too because it was still
Yeah.
shrink wrapped, and I want to say it had a Kmart price sticker on it.
Yeah. I mean, I had a price on the My Pet Monster that I was like, I'm not going over this. This is the top. And had to turn it down a few times. And it's just a bummer, man. That's the worst when you find something that you really want and the other person just won't bend at all. But that's just the nature of the business. Sometimes you have to just look at it. And I mean, I know this weekend I found the guy had the old Knight Rider racetrack, the whole thing in the
Oh,
kit.
yeah.
And so he had a little more on than I wanted to. I took a picture of it just to be like, yeah, I got to at least see that. I mean, it's a bummer, but it's just sometimes it's just out of the price range that you're willing to pay. Because I'm not gonna come home and put that racetrack together and plug it in and race kit in some giant tractor trailer around the track all night. you know.
Yeah, that's the problem with the like there are a couple like I had a racetrack that I have fond memories of as a kid. Um but I don't think I would like I'm not in the market to try and have it again, mainly just because I don't really have a good place to set it up.
No.
And that's something like I don't want to buy that and just let it sit in a box. I actually want
Yeah.
to because I had I don't know if you remember this one. There was a race set. It was a cops and robbers theme where it comes with a police car and the getaway car.
Yeah.
And there was a button on the top of the controller where you control the speed. And if you hit the top of the button, the cars would change
Change
direction and go
lanes.
the
Oh, go
other
the other.
direct.
I the
They
one
would
change
change
lanes.
direction. But
Directions is crazy.
yeah, they would actually flip around and go the other way.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
and but the other cool thing that this race set came with, well, I take this back. I might be misspeaking here. I always remembered it in terms of this racetrack set, but this may have been a separate toy that we were just combining to play with. But there was like a little RC little helicopter that you could fly and pick up like little roadblock things. And so there's like a helicopter element too, and maybe this may not have been part of the racetrack. I may not, my memory might be failing me on this one, but I always remembered we played with the helicopter while we were racing because what you could do is you could take the helicopter, lift these. The helicopter has a base, and the helicopter is attached with a wire. But you could get it spinning, and then it would only fly in a circle. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
an RC where it could fly anywhere. It would only fly in a circle. So you'd have to put it like in the middle of the track. But because you could do that, like you could have it try to put these barriers in front of the crook car. And so, but I don't remember if that is part of the track or if that's a separate toy
We're gonna have to
that
look that
my
up though. That's
cousin and
awesome.
I just use
Yeah.
that too,
Yeah.
use that
I mean,
with
I
it.
told Cassandra that had it been the Dukes of Hazard, I probably would have spent the money and got it for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
See,
we do have the cars. We have Roscoe and the General Lee,
yeah.
just the cars, but we don't have the track. So that would be something that I would have
We
gotten for
should have
her.
bought the Knight Rider one and done a Dukes of Hazard Knight Rider mashup.
I mean, it was a little more than I really wanted to spend, and I don't think that it had all the risers, so I'm not too sure that the track would have been. I mean, I would have had to have gotten it out, opened up the instruction booklet, counted all the pieces, and it just wasn't. It wasn't that amazing, and the box wasn't perfect. It looked like the end had gotten wet at some point, and so you know how like they used to just put like a sticker on the box, so like there were bubbles in the sticker on one end, so it wasn't perfect. Had it been mint, I mean, I may have taken a chance on that and even taken that to the show just to try to make a few bucks on it if it had been cheap enough, but it just wasn't. And I'm sure if I'd have went by there at 2 o'clock, I might have gotten it cheaper. But
Yeah.
um, we had driven on and gone to other places, and then I made it to the flea market and got that super cool Hulk. So
Oh
it
yeah,
worked out,
that
it
Hulk
worked
was
out well for
great.
me. Yeah,
That
I mean,
Hulk was great.
like I said, I didn't know that it was from the TV show when I first saw it. I just don't see a lot of plushes with hair like that where the hair is not matted and gross. And once I started looking him up, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a Lou Ferrigno Hulk. Like I'm going back to get that, and got it even cheaper.
That's
Um,
awesome. Yeah,
I love the
that's
fact that he was like, yeah, we're the flea market, man. I'm not charging you full price. Like that you never hear that.
no, you really don't. You
You just
really
don't.
don't.
Say, I'm
Well,
going
and
back.
that's kind of I think that's kind of the that's kind of I guess I'm about to get on my old man soapbox here. That's really why I have such fond memories of flea markets back in the day and I honestly feel like it's hard to find a good flea market anymore.
It is. I mean, I told you when we walked through, we went up and down all the aisles of Cooks, and I mean, it's not as empty as it once was. It's definitely back, and they have plenty of things. And there's a lot of stuff that I saw that brought back memories of flea markets. It's not quite the same,
Hmm.
um, I think there were some things missing, like there were no baseball card shops.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely some Pokemon. So the kids out there that are into that, that's cool. But there were no baseball card places. There's some video game places, no toy places at all.
Yeah.
The one guy that I know about there, that he has like a bunch of comics and Funko Pops and stuff. I'm sure you know the guy I'm talking about. Like he wasn't even there. Like his booth was closed off,
Yeah,
so you couldn't even shop.
I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
So it's
that's
just a bummer.
yeah, and I have such fond memories of cooks back in the day.
Oh my god. Yes.
My I grew up in the Burlington area, but my relatives on my father's side all lived in the Winston-Salem area, and so I would spend weeks with different family members over the summer. And so I know I would usually be at, during that time, I know at least 2 or 3 times we'd go to Cook's, and because back then, I believe this was when it was over off of Peters Creek Parkway. Do you
Yeah.
remember when it was over there?
I remember that, and I remember where it was over there where Home Depot is now. I remember both of those
Yeah,
places.
I think the old Cook's building is like a self-storage or something now off of
I think
Peters
so.
Creek Parkway. But we used to go over there, and I could always find such cool comics and stuff there. There were, and that was in the days like this was the 70s. There might have been a direct market at that time. It was just getting started. But like this was the days before you had anybody that was a comic book dealer. You just had guys who had comics,
Yeah.
and oh, I remember getting so much cool stuff. Like the one that sticks out in my mind is my cousin Kathy uh took me there, and we were at Cook's, and I was, like I said, I was really into, military history, military stuff at that time. And that's when I really first got into GI Combat, because I found GI Combat comics at this guy, and they were cheap enough. She bought me probably 5 or 6 comic books, and then she took me to the newsstand over at Thruway Shopping Center. If you remember the old newsstand that used to
Yep.
be there, and they had a paperback book section, and I found a paperback copy of the history of the Battle of the Bulge. And man, that was like one of my greatest days as a kid, because I went back to my aunt Lib's house, and it's kind of like you at the Secret Wars figure. I didn't even want to leave my room at that point. I was just
Nah.
engrossed in GI Combat and the Battle of the Bulge. It was a great summer.
Yeah, it's I there are some good ones. I mean, I know that
Yeah, you do, and we even watch, some of the guys we watch up north. There are some good flea markets that apparently are open every weekend and
yeah,
everything, that I would love for us to take a road trip and go up there,
I
because I
think it would be
know,
fun.
yeah, because like the Golden Nugget, the Columbus Farmers
Yeah.
Market, like lots of the Dark Ride Dracula, Gen X Jason, and Retro Slacker.
Yeah.
They all find some. It looks like there are a lot of cool dealers there.
We need to go to that Webb Road. I know we drive by it on the way to Charlotte all the time, and it's
Yeah,
over there on the left. We need to make a point to go to that, and then do our usual stuff where we just go around and have fun and go to antique stores and toy shops and stuff. But we need to make a point to get to that one Saturday kind of early
yeah,
and
yeah.
walk around, because I think we might be a little bit surprised. I think there's probably more around here than we're used to. We just don't know where they are. I know that one in Lexington is pretty good. I found some neat stuff there, and
Well,
some
the
good
Lexington
comics.
flea market, there used to be a big outdoor flea market in Lexington, uh, because another aunt of mine we would go down there, and during the summer, I think it was only open back then on Saturday, maybe Sunday. Because I just remember we would always go on Saturday, and there were lots of cool people selling comics and toys at the
Yeah.
time, that I found a lot of great stuff there.
Yeah, this
Um,
one I'm talking about, it's open on Fridays, which is really hard for me to get to, and most
yeah,
people
see,
who have
that's the thing.
jobs.
Any of those things on the week, that makes it hard. I like
Yeah.
I got to take a day off of work if I want to
Yeah,
go to
that's
this
I don't
thing.
know, it's not that
Yeah.
good. They might be open on Saturday, though.
Do you remember the Super Fleas in Greensboro
I do, yeah.
at the Coliseum? I miss those, and I believe those only. I know Laura and I went to one as late as 2019. No, it would have. No, it would have been. I'm sorry, I misspoke, because it would have had to have been 2017,
Okay.
because we had not moved yet at that time. So, but we did go to a Super Flea, and then since then, they may have had them, but I have a feeling COVID kind of killed that one because it hasn't come back
Yeah.
since. But that one was always great. For one thing, it was in the Coliseum. Um, so it was always climate controlled, whether they had it in the winter. They used to have it twice a year, one in a summer and a winter one. And I always found amazing stuff there. Actually, the last one we went to, it's a funny story. Um, Laura and I had gone to it, and we looked around, and I picked up a few things, but I found the super. It was the Superman from the Super Friends. It was a statue that DC Direct had done probably in the early 2010s or the late 2000s. And it was one of those things where I was like, well, I'm going to think about that. And the guy was asking like $20. It wasn't much, but I was like, I'm going to think about that. And so we walked around the rest of the place, we left, and literally the entire way home, we ate lunch, we went back to the apartment, we hung out, we were watching TV. And I was like, yeah, I really regret leaving that Superman there. I really should have picked that up. And we still, and they used to stamp your hand so that as long as you had the stamp on, you could get back in. We literally got in the car, drove back to the Coliseum from Kernersville, and I walked right in, and it still was there. I bought it, and then since then, I was like, well, now I got to find the rest of them, and I do. I have that full
Yeah.
set now.
Oh, they're awesome, man. No,
Yeah,
I mean, I love the one that we went to in Raleigh. It just got a little too hot that afternoon, but luckily they
yeah.
had the indoor flea market was just as
Right.
good as the
It's
outdoor.
just as good. And I will say, anybody going to that Raleigh flea market, you definitely want to go because I believe it's open every weekend.
It
I
is.
think it's there every weekend. So you definitely want to probably go in the springtime or the fall. Go in there, although I think we went there in May. I wasn't expecting it to be that hot. Well, the problem is it's set up in a parking lot. So you're on
Yeah.
black asphalt. And like today, like a day like today would have been brutal
It would
being
have
somewhere
sucked.
like that.
Hey,
Yeah.
that was the introduction to the elements though. And
Yes.
and
Yes.
the how refreshing that can be after a
Yeah,
rough day of
yeah, I
sweating.
love I love elements. Actually, we did our yard work and stuff yesterday. I haven't told you, but we moved our grill, set up a new grilling area, the Blackstone. I'm getting the Blackstone all in shape, ready to go. And so we have it set up so it's closer to our side door so that we can
Yeah.
just come out of the kitchen and be right there. Uh, we worked on that all day yesterday afternoon. And it got hot, but I had an element perfect.
Yeah, it's really good. I try not to drink them all the time because I was getting bad where I was drinking like 1 or 2 a day.
You know what though? I've heard my boss. He is really into element, and he would actually probably recommend you should be drinking at least one a day.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Um, but it like
because
it helps with headaches though. Like
yeah,
I would get
it
headaches at
does.
school and it
Yeah,
really does help with headaches. So I'll drink one of those before I start taking any medicine. And usually it goes away if I down one of those pretty quickly at school. So I use it for that. I did not like whatever it was, that tea that I gave you. Um
Magna.
yeah, I'm not buying that again. I it
Okay.
does keep it did help wake me up. Whatever was in it, there was not like caffeine or anything, but like whatever was in it that keeps you more alert. That part is true, but I'll have to try the watermelon one because that tea was awful.
Okay.
It's not my
Well, I
best.
still
You
haven't
may
tried
love
it yet.
you
I
may
haven't
love it.
tried it. I haven't
I
tried it
was
yet.
not a fan. So I don't know. I'm looking at the time, man. I don't want to go too much over time. Respect everybody's time, your time, my time, people listening's time. But I'm looking forward to this weekend. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. if in any way possible, I think we should try to record a portion of the podcast while we're there.
Oh yeah, we
Um,
can definitely do something, and should definitely shoot some footage while
yeah,
we're
oh yeah,
there to post up to the channel. I'm hoping that I'm hoping there. We were just talking about this, that we are gaining a little traction with the podcast, and last week's episode, even though we were talking about 90s comic book gimmicks, and apparently we found an audience for that, because that's been one of our more popular
that's a lot
episodes
of
of the
memories in that,
podcast.
man.
So we're so excited about that. So I'm actually hoping, I would love for some people to come up and go, hey, I listen to your podcast, and maybe that's even how they know about the show.
That would blow my mind.
That would blow my mind.
It
But
really would
even
blow
if
my
that
mind if they
doesn't
said that.
happen, I'm sure I'm going to definitely try to turn people onto the channel and the
Yep,
podcast while we're there. And so, but if nothing else, we're just going to have a good time. And, like I said, I've got a lot of cool stuff that I'm hoping
same.
that I'm going to help find a new forever home
That's
at
that's
this
what I'm
show.
looking for, man. I'm hoping to get rid of some stuff and honestly turn right back around and walk around there and
Oh no,
find
exactly.
find some more
I may
pieces that I'm
leave,
looking for.
I may leave there with no money at all, but
I'd
that's
like
fine.
to
But
leave with at least 50 so that we both
oh no,
pay for
I
our
would like to
table.
at least cover the cost of the table.
Yeah, the other after that,
But
I'm good.
after that, yeah, after that, I would be fine leaving there with no profit, but some cool new stuff.
New stuff would be great.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thank you to all the listeners. We really appreciate it. Feel free to leave some comments on the old YouTube channel. Let us know the next thing you want to hear, and we hope that we see you at the Recollect show in Midway on Saturday. All right, Mac. Have a great week, man. We'll talk to you soon.
You too.
All right,
Bye.
bye.